You are aware that the topic of de-dollarization has been discussed for some time now, right? Guess what, though? It's at last starting to pick up serious steam. A number of things have happened over the past few years, especially since 2008, that have diminished the value of the dollar on the global stage. All throughout the world, nations are eschewing the dollar in favor of alternative currencies when transacting business. Additionally, more than a few nations are engaging in this. Africa, Asia, and Latin America are all boarding the de-dollarization train. And what else do you know? Gold is rising in popularity once more, while currencies like the yuan are gaining significant attention in global trade. Back then, when Latin American nations banded together to form UNASUR, they had this great idea to develop a common currency called sucre. But it never actually took off. When we fast forward to 2017, the petro-yuan was a hot topic on the international stage. It was suggested that Saudi Arabia accept yuan payments from China for its oil shipments rather than dollars. This action violated Saudi Arabia's agreement with the United States to only sell its oil in dollars, like a narrative twist in a movie. The United States made the decision to impose significant penalties on China in 2018. China wasn't going to take it sitting down, so they developed a cunning alternative called SIPs to carry out financial operations, completely eschewing the SWIFT system, which is managed by the United States. The United States was not behaving diplomatically with Russia when this was going on across the water. Due to the whole Crimea crisis, they imposed very severe sanctions on them back in 2014. And with the conflict in Ukraine, things got even worse. Russia was consequently expelled from the SWIFT mechanism. Russia, however, wasn't going to pout in the back. They created their PESA mechanism, acting as a rebel with a cause. Let's go ahead to April 2023, as predicted by the International Monetary Fund. With 54% of global reserves, the dollar was still a significant factor. On the other hand, the euro was strutting its stuff with around 19% of the same reserves, while the yuan had a pitiful 2.5%. So it appears that the dollar still reigns supreme, but hey, who knows what the future may bring. China's trade figures in 2021 were astounding, reaching $6.064 trillion, or about 30% more than what the US managed with $4.691 trillion. That's not all, though. Due to the US trade deficit with China, the gap between China and the US has been expanding. It appears that China is triumphant everywhere. China has become almost every nation's primary commercial partner. In addition, Chinese transactions in their own currency, the yuan, were higher in 2022 than those in dollars. Bloomberg reports that the US dollar's percentage of China's foreign commerce decreased from 48.6% in February to 47%. It appears that China is taking the lead while the US currency is losing ground. Russia lost a ton of money as a result of the US imposing sanctions on it for its participation in Ukraine. Do you know what transpired after that? Many nations accelerated the de-dollarization process. Recently, Russia has taken de-dollarization very seriously. In March 2022, Putin personally issued this elaborate executive order stating that nations with whom they have a tense relationship are not permitted to execute natural gas contracts in any currency other than the ruble. And right now, this pattern is intensifying. In January 2023, Brazil and Argentina announced that they were getting ready to trade using their respective currencies. Additionally, on February 21st, Iraq opted to trade with China using the yuan rather than the dollar. After that, France said in March that it will export China 65,000 tons of liquefied gas in exchange for yuan payments. Brazil and China even agreed to trade in yuan. One of the factors, according to analysts, that contributed to the dollar's decline was something dubbed quantitative easing. When it first began in 2008, a lot of money was printed, or as they put it, helicopter money. All that more money didn't increase output. In reality, there has been a staggering 40% growth in the number of dollars in circulation over the last 15 years, which is a big factor in the current insane inflation. Additionally, Russia is stepping up its game by attempting to settle commerce with ASEAN nations using their own national currencies. Russia is attempting to discover alternatives to the powerful dollar in light of the Western sanctions it is currently facing as a result of the Ukraine issue. However, this process of de-dollarization is not exclusive to Russia. The bandwagon is being joined by other growing market nations including China, India, and ASEAN. They're sick of the disarray that the international financial system and Western sanctions have brought about. Therefore, it appears that everyone is seeking for ways to make trade more independent and seamless. However, this tendency is advantageous for China as well as Russia. Analysts claim it benefits China's international trade and the yuan's internationalization. What's more, Sergei Lavrov, the foreign minister of Russia, suggested adopting national currencies for trade settlements between Russia and ASEAN nations while recently attending the ASEAN Regional Forum. Lavrov, who is all about practical collaboration, thinks that this action will improve their relationships. The use of the yuan and ruble has already done wonders for China-Russia trade, particularly in the energy sector, according to Song Kui, the president of the contemporary China-Russia Regional Economy Research Institute. Their two-way trading has greatly increased. In fact, commerce between China and Russia increased by a startling 50.9% in the first half of this year. However, the West, led by the US, continues to put sanctions on Russia. In spite of this, China and Russia are committed to expanding their bilateral trade. By the end of 2023, they hope to have reached $200 billion. As we've already discussed, a lot of nations are switching from using the dollar for trade to using the yuan. For instance, Indian refiners have begun utilizing the yuan to pay for Russian oil shipments. Even Argentina joined the celebration and paid off a portion of its debt to the IMF using the yuan. The BRICS are also considering introducing its own currency to fight the dominance of the dollar. Other nations have expressed interest in joining this organization, including Algeria, Saudi Arabia, Argentina, Egypt, and Belarus, to mention a few. It appears that the United States may be in trouble. It seems like everybody is hopping on the BRICS train. Even while South Africa claims to have 18 applications, some people think there may be as many as 30. Therefore, joining the BRICS or its fancy new development bank indicates that a nation is very serious about leaving the currency behind. In case all of that wasn't enough to weaken the dollar, nations around the globe are still not finished. With their gold holdings, central banks and sovereign wealth funds are making a homecoming move. They're beginning to worry that their gleaming gems might be lost abroad, similar to what happened when Russia intervened militarily in Ukraine. A staggering 1,136 metric tons of gold were seized by central banks globally in the previous year. This interesting fact was revealed in a report by the World Gold Council in February. However, it appears that these banks have little interest in keeping their valuable treasure abroad. Nearly 70% of respondents, according to the survey, are now storing their reserves at home. If you can believe it, that is an increase from 50% in 2020. Additionally, some bankers told Invesco that they improved their gold strategy 8 to 10 years ago and kept everything in London. They wanted to keep that priceless material safe, so they carried it back to their own nation. At the moment, gold is serving as the ultimate safe haven asset. What are your thoughts on China and Russia, and do you think they can overthrow the US dollar? Let me know down below. If you want to continue to learn about business investing and financial education, we have got this video waiting on the screen for you to check out. Don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe for more videos like this. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.